Pentacle, Chapter 30, The Star. Jeremy ran into Carina's house and he locked himself within. And Carina rubbed her temple and she left the hammer to open the front door. The lock opened but the door didn't budge and Jeremy barricaded himself inside the room. Carina hadn't imagined starting her new year with so many complications. And Unla knocked on the door before saying, "Jeremy, honey, please open the door." "Honey?" asked Carina, raising an eyebrow. "I will open the door when Siddhanta leaves," said Jeremy. "Jeremy, this is serious. Open the door," said Siddhanta, punching the door. "Leave me alone, leave me alone, leave me alone," repeated Jeremy over and over. Much to Carina's annoyance, Siddhanta ended up kicking the door down, and they were going to need a replacement door before the night fell. Jeremy ran to the bathroom before locking himself within, and before Siddhanta punched through the door, Carina opened it with a quarter. This delay gave Jeremy the chance to escape through the small bathroom window. The youth fled like the devil was after him, and Siddhanta sighed with frustration before slumping over the couch. "Should we chase after him?" asked Carina. "Why bother?" sighed Siddhanta. You bother because he's your little brother," said Carina. "No, he isn't. We're not even related by blood," said Siddhanta before sighing again. "Why do you have the same last name?" asked Carina. "Coincidence or destiny, like Jeremy likes to call it," said Siddhanta. "I should have kept my distance like all of the other kids, but I felt sorry for Jeremy. He had nothing and nobody, and he didn't even have the basic social skills to make friends. He was so desperately lonely that he clung to anyone that tolerated him for more than 5 minutes. I take it this isn't the first time that Jeremy has bounded himself to an unsavory character," asked Carina, assuming that Jeremy was in cohorts with the man that had attacked Cain. "But when we were in the foster home, Jeremy had bounded himself to the son of our caretaker, and whatever the bastard wanted, Jeremy would provide, even if he belonged to another," said Siddhanta. "What did Jeremy provide?" asked Unla. "Just about anything and everything," said Siddhanta, not desiring to go into details. He didn't want to get Jeremy in trouble. "Was the son of the caretaker a child or an adult?" asked Unla. Siddhanta signed before adding, "He was 17, but even so, it was wrong for him to predate on a sweet, innocent 11-year-old child. And the things he did to Jeremy, I dare not repeat. And I think it is better that his shrink hears the rest of the story from him and not from me. And Jeremy doesn't like it when I share his secrets." "I think you should let Jeremy keep Tybalt," said Ola. "Animals bring comfort to people, and researchers have found a direct connection between interacting with animals and enjoying positive health benefits." "I don't see why Jeremy needs Tybalt when he has me," protested Siddhanta, folding his arm. "Now I see. You are jealous of the cat, aren't you?" said Unla. The side of her lip twitched, and she found the situation rather amusing. "No, I'm not," lied Siddhanta. "When did Tybalt come into the picture?" asked Unla. "Last February, and we were celebrating my birthday, and when I opened a gift box, I found a hairless cat inside of it," said Siddhanta. "And can you believe me? Jeremy gifted me his stupid cat because he wanted to keep it, and from that moment on, everything became Tybalt this and Tybalt that." "Why don't you like Tybalt?" asked Carina. "Because he bites and scratches me. It is normal to hate those who do you harm," said Siddhanta. "Animals don't bite and scratch without a reason," said Carina. "Well, this one does," said Siddhanta. Siddhanta spent the rest of the evening complaining about Tybalt. And close to dinner time, Bruno arrived home with Jeremy, and he had found the youth wandering about aimlessly in the street. And since he looked lost, Bruno offered Jeremy a ride home. And they ate dinner together, and during dessert, Jeremy felt like cooperating, but there was a catch. "I will tell you everything if I get my cat back," said Jeremy. "I don't like Tybalt. Can't things go back to the way they were before?" asked Siddhanta. Jeremy picked up a plate before throwing it on the floor, and the plate shattered into hundreds of pieces. Carina complained, "Hey, you better have money to pay for that." "Next time we invite Jeremy over, we better use plastic plates," joked Bruno. "I merely wanted to illustrate a point, and when you break something, it can never return to what it was before," said Jeremy. "Sure it can, it just takes time and effort," said Siddhanta, picking out the broken pieces. And he asked, "Do you have some crazy glue?" "No, but we can combine Jeremy with regular glue. Would that help?" asked Rodrigo, giggling. "Let's go home, Jeremy," said Siddhanta, getting up. "Finally," said Jeremy. No, Sidanta, wait, said Ola, trying to retain Jeremy for a little longer. After thinking, she said, Jeremy still has 20 minutes left on his session. You're getting paid either way, madam, and it is not as if your sessions are producing a positive change in his behavior, barked Sidanta. I want to play for a little longer, whispered Jeremy. And Ola took Jeremy to her room before locking the door, and away from prying eyes, Jeremy was allowed to continue playing with dolls for a little longer. Sidanta doesn't play with me anymore. I am an adult now, so I must like adult things and do adult things, whined Jeremy. But you are doing adult things, said Ola. You have a job. Sidanta doesn't consider what I do a real job, whispered Jeremy, and he added, smiling thinly. Wait until he sees my next paycheck. I am finally earning more than him. Come again? Asked Ola, raising an eyebrow. Michael isn't my only client now, and I have 2 other shops whose pets I work for a fee, and all the small numbers are quickly adding up, said Jeremy, smiling happily. Jeremy, how did you happen upon Kane's gun? Asked Ola when she finally stopped beating around the bushes. You told Sidanta you found it with a metal detector, but you don't own one, do you? I don't own one, and you are going to think I'm crazy, said Jeremy, and he added, saying a half-truth. I saw a man playing with a gun by the beach, and when he saw that I saw him, he dropped the gun before fleeing. I didn't see much of it, so I picked up the gun, and when I saw the writing on it, I realized that it was Kane's revolver. Did you get a good look at him? Asked Ola. No, but even if I did, I see some people's faces differently, said Jeremy. Different how? Asked Ola, and Jeremy took a pencil and paper, and he drew Ola's face the way he perceived it, and he drew Ola with 2 faces, and after rattling her brain, she recalled something she knew of prosopon metamorphosia. There were only 76 reported cases of visual disorder, and the person suffering from this disorder saw people's faces distorted. The cause was unknown, and even the successful treatment for the disorder varied from patient to patient, and one of the known cases of the disorder had a history of epilepsy. It doesn't happen with everyone. Sidanta and Tibo's face always look normal, and Kenneth Bruno's face are usually distorted, and so is your sister Barbara's face, explained Jeremy. And have you always seen distorted faces? Asked Ola. It is a problem that comes and goes, said Jeremy, shrugging his shoulders. Ola concluded her session with Jeremy, and she informed Sidanta and those assembled in the living room how Jeremy had acquired the gun, and Sidanta was naturally skeptical about the disorder that Jeremy claimed to suffer from. Sidanta knew from experience that Jeremy would often distort the truth in order to avoid facing the consequences for his actions. And Sidanta took the drawing home with him with the hopes that the distorted face might look familiar. Carina now understood why Jeremy only made eye contact with Sidanta. With the rest, he was always staring to the side or to his cat. And with the unwelcome guest gone, some semblance of peace returned, and she thought of her pages before smiling warmly, and she was glad that she only had to bother with their bodies and not their mind. A body she can cure, a defective mind you could only treat. And this was why Carina only bothered to take just the right amount of psychology that her doctorate required. When it came time for bed, she tried to put Jeremy out of her mind, and the thing he said and drawn triggered a new flavor of night terror in Carina. And she dreamed that Bruno had 2 faces, one of a man and the other of an old hag. The hag's face started withering away, while maggots manifested from the hollow of her eyes. And it took much willpower for Carina to force herself awake, and she turned her head slowly towards the dollhouse. And for some reason she couldn't shake off the impression that there was somebody there playing with the darn thing. And since she was afraid to look, she turned her head back on the dollhouse, and instead she focused on the warm body sleeping beside her. And she petted Bruno's face. Yes, there he was, snoring with only one face. What a beautiful man I have, thought Carina. It was then when she became aware of something on his neck. There, it was unmistakable. A love bite, as nasty and as purple as the one in Kane's neck. And Carina poked at it with her index finger, and Bruno flinched, for it was clearly tender. And he had a rattle a little later than before, and she poked at it again until Bruno finally awoke. Bruno, said Carina. What, am I snoring again? Whined Bruno. If I'm bothering you, just go to sleep in your mother's bedroom. Did you cheat on me today? Asked Carina. Cause if you did, now we're even. Did you cheat on me today? Asked Bruno before yawning. Did you use a condom? No, said Carina, and she said no to the first question. Disgusting, said Bruno, finally waking up, and he ran to the bathroom to wash his mouth. And what's the matter? Asked Carina, not getting why he was acting this way. You told me that you didn't use protection, said Bruno after washing his mouth. And what if a filthy pig gave you his germs? And God, you need to be more careful. It's not for your sake, at least for my well-being. I said no to the first question. I didn't cheat on you today, said Carina. Carina had cheated on Bruno part ways before changing her mind, and it was for this reason that she planned to give him a free pass to Bruno if he cheated on her part ways or all the way. And she had truly wanted to cheat on him, but she changed her mind because of her one-night stand had turned into an angry drunkard. Her relationship with Bruno hadn't been the determining factor that had stopped her from following through her original intent, and she was brought back to the present when she saw the nasty bite on Bruno's neck. How do you get that bite mark? Asked Carina. I don't know. Is there something on me? Asked Bruno, and he looked at his own reflection before saying, ugh, that wasn't there before. Do you think you got bit by the same guy as Kane? Asked Carina, alarmed. I hope not, though. If it was the same guy, this proves that he didn't expose the truth. The perpetrator is indeed someone that you know, Carina, and not only that, he's targeting men that has slept with you, Carina, said Bruno. Can you tell me everything that happened today? Asked Carina. I went to work, I worked on my case, I had lunch with Rodrigo, I worked on my case some more, and I dozed off for a couple of minutes. At least I think it was for a couple of minutes, said Bruno thoughtfully. Rodrigo was the one who awoke me and told me to go home. We should check your workplace security camera, said Carina, alarmed. Tomorrow, I'm going back to bed, said Bruno, returning to sleep. Carina pouted, seeing how super blasé Bruno was about the incident, and deep inside she hoped that he had cheated on her, and the intent that it was having her boyfriend mentally scarred for life. And just like Kane, in that night while Bruno slept peacefully, she rolled around like a burrito, and during breakfast she spoke about Bruno's love bite, and much to her surprise, the culprit came forward. That was me, said Rodrigo. I was playing an elaborate prank on Bruno. And I was playing Sleeping Beauty to amuse my friend. I am not as heavy sleeper as I pretend to be, said Bruno, laughing. Well, you shouldn't be pretending to be asleep while on the job, and if you keep doing that, people are going to think you're lazy, joked Rodrigo. You both are weirdos, barked Carina in utter disbelief. And she added, and what if someone else saw you? You could have been accused of being the person who attacked Kane. Not likely, said Rodrigo. I was in Colombia with you, my sweet little cousin. I just hope this criminal gets apprehended soon. The tension is killing me, said Carina, rubbing her sleepy eyes. I will drive you to work today, said Bruno, and this will give you a chance to catch up on your beauty sleep. Bruno started driving to Carina's work, and she fell into a heavy slumber. And in the dream world, she was inside a chariot, and there was something familiar about the back of the driver. He was a person that she had seen and not seen many times. He was Eugenia's limo driver. When she awoke, her mind had finished connecting the dots, and she was certain of it. The person that they were looking for was Eugenia's limo driver. It's the limo driver, yelled Carina. Why don't yell, said Bruno, swirling on the freeway. The guy, the perp, is the limo driver. If the tarot cards were modernized, the chariot would be a car, yelled Carina. And he's someone that we know and that is in a position to eavesdrop in all of our conversation. Just think about it, Bruno. He saw Kane smooching Eugenia for months, and Eugenia changed because of Kane, and he grew to hate Kane, and then one day he decided to hurt Kane. Or maybe he was joyriding and Kane gave him a ticket, said Bruno, pretending to believe his girlfriend. And don't forget, the card said that the crime was motivated by a desire for power. Bruno dropped off Carina at work, and from there he headed to the law firm. And his friend Carlo was still being watched by the police, and Bruno needed to irrefutable proof that Carlo wasn't guilty. He pitched Carina's theory to Lola, and she didn't sound too convinced. And Bruno then called Uncle Gen, and he too was running his own parallel investigation, and while Lola was using as the usual suspect, Gen was looking at literally everyone. Alright, that's the end of that chapter. Bye-bye and God bless.